Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys a brand new 2021 album review. And today we're going to be looking into the new album from the band ERRA, which is simply self-titled, which was released today under UNFD Records. Now, everybody should probably have heard the name ERRA if you're a fan of like metalcore or progressive metalcore. They're a metalcore band based out of Birmingham, Alabama, and they formed in 2009. And I discovered ERRA back in 2015 or 16 or so. I remember first seeing them back in 2016 on the Sumerian 10-year anniversary tour with Born of Osiris, After the Burial, and Upon a Burning Body. And I just dug what they've heard. And these guys have gone through a couple lineup changes. In fact, their only original members is Jesse Cash, their lead guitarist and clean vocalist, and Alex Bailu, their drummer. And ERRA for me, while they're definitely have like a format that they stick with, they definitely experiment a little bit. And of course, this album follows up their previous album, which came out in 2018, called Neon, which I thought was a pretty good album. But this album, I feel like, is ERRA's most experimental album to date. Like, there's some songs where they've changed up a little styles and definitely add some different elements. And then there's some songs that kind of sounds like some old school ERRA stuff, like stuff off of in Augment or Impulse. One thing to note about is just the vocal work. Let's just talk about the vocals, especially from Jesse Cash and JT Cavey. Like JT Cavey's, I feel like his harsh vocals have gotten really powerful and just insane live and on the CDs. In fact, this album is totally, he does like something that's actually never heard of. He actually does some clean vocals on a couple of the tracks, and I feel like especially like one of the example of JT's great clean vocals is the song Shadow Automatus, which is, I probably butchered that, but it's a really, like, that song has some, love the instrumentation here. It kind of sounds like stuff from their old stuff, and I really love JT's cleans in that song, and I just wish he could do more in ERRA's music. I think he's a great singer, and I just have like doing like harsh vocals. I feel like this album just really shows like they're not have to rely on like what they could do. They can definitely experiment, and like JT's cleans I've really just has a lot of power to it, and just his guitar playing is really tight. Same thing with Sean's as well. Sean does like the tapping stuff and like shreddy a little bit, but it's mostly JT that handles that. The bass playing on this album is really, really audible compared to previous albums, well, except for like Augment. But I feel like especially like on the song Divisionary, it has like a little bass solo in there. And then drumming wise, like Alex Bailu's drumming, he definitely has a great speed. So yeah, especially with this kind of album review, I'm not gonna go like track by track with all the albums, but I do want to talk about some of my favorite songs on here, especially like the first song on the album being Snowblood. Now this definitely shows like the evolution of ERRA's songwriting. It just grows even more creative year after year and every album after album. It sort of like brings back sort of like the keyboards as well, and it's such a key element that I feel like that should remain sort of like the forefront of ERRA's sound. And that solo though, and I just love like the riffs just thrown near the end, and it's just amazing. And we also talked about Divisionary. I just love like the clean vocals from JT, and especially at the end are just amazing. And his dirty vocals are fantastic, and he just shows like a lot of like growth and development in there. Like I mentioned, it has a really sick bass solo in there, which I haven't heard since probably forget that one song from Augment. And of course House of Glass, which is the first single from this album, which actually gets like reminds you a little bit of like Tool, and especially in like the verses, and it also has some throwback to like some old school like thrashy or death metal stuff as well. Oh, and another one of the last song I really want to talk about is the song Scorpion Hymn. Now this is the first ERRA song that I've heard. It doesn't even sound like an ERRA song at all. It almost kind of reminds me a little bit of like North Lane. It's probably the heaviest song that ERRA has released to date, and I could definitely feel like they've listened to a lot of like Meshuggah as well, especially in the intro. It's just so good, and like I said, this is probably the heaviest that ERRA has sounded thus far. Now overall, the self-titled album from ERRA is definitely a standout in their catalog. Like they definitely have like a different approach to this album. Like it's not like they have like a usual formula. Well, they do definitely stick to what they definitely are, but they could definitely experiment and try different things with this. So if I had to give this album a score, I'm going to give the self-titled album by ERRA a solid 9 out of 10. So yeah, that's my review of the new ERRA album, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video, and as always, keep it metal.